Hello everybody and welcome to another OceanCasts video. Now today I'm going to take one step back and we're going to go ahead and look at where DigitalOcean is now. Now it's been roughly about a year since I've been active, actually been like really active and uploading videos almost weekly. So I'm going to catch everybody up with what's new with DigitalOcean now. And what has really actually just changed in aspects of their services and also their design. As you can see, their homepage is a lot different now than it used to be. So basically, through time has gone on, it's been about a year. A year is quite a long time for a technological company like DigitalOcean. I mean, their technology, everything about them is technology. They're all about making things better and trying to make their platform better and better and better and adding more and more features to make them better. So I'm going to just briefly go over all this stuff and kind of break this down. So the first thing we're seeing is the homepage is a lot different now than it used to be. Got some nice little graphics here. It's still their main talking points. You can deploy a server in 55 seconds. You have that solid state disk performance, very fast. You have a very simple API if you're interested in creating apps around their API in their servers and services. You can now add volumes up to your servers, and that's really good because if you say if you only want to spend $5 a month for a 512 megabyte RAM server and about, I think it's roughly 20 gigabytes of storage. I kind of forget at this point, but you can't really store, if you're wanting to store stuff with DigitalOcean, it's not really going to meet your needs in terms of storage, because you're going to be doing if you're going to be hosting files and backups of your computer and such, or backups of MySQL databases or things that get very large, you're not going to be able to store that on that server. But now DigitalOcean has come out with storage available in 3 regions, which we'll get to in a second. And you can actually attach your storage and have more disk space and basically add that to your partition. Kind of, but similar. All right, so now with DigitalOcean, you're on a lightning fast network. Their network's 40 gigabytes per second network to ensure uptime and throughput. And they also have team capabilities as well. Their pricing is very straightforward. Either at a simple $5 a month to get started with, or you can go all the way up to $80 a month. Right now, they're saying the best is about $20 a month for 2 gigabytes of RAM, 2-core processor, 40 gigabyte solid state disk, and 3 terabyte transfer. Not a bad deal, but for average Joe, if you're just starting out in this business, I'm just gonna say 5 or 10 is fine for you. If you're just gonna be hosting like a personal site with not much access to it, or not anything too high performance on that server, this should be fine for you. And again, you always can check out that hourly pricing as well to go ahead and get a better idea of how much you'll be paying per hour if you're interested in that. Now, just to put a sidebar on that, that price per hour does not mean you turn off your server for 5 hours and then you turn it back on and you're only charged for the time it's on. That's not the case. The case is that you're charged for the time that server is in your control panel. So if you delete the server, then you're not charged for it. But if you add the server for 1 hour and delete it, then you're charged only for the hour. But if you have the server, you leave it on for about 5 days, so quite a bit of time, and so many hours, and then you turn that off, you're charged for those hours that the server is actually in the on state. I mean, the state that it's in your account. That's what they mean by on. All right, so you can develop locally and deploy globally. You can have servers throughout the whole, almost all the worlds, and they're in about I mean, they're pretty much throughout the whole world. They're expanding in the markets that they feel that they need to be, and the most hotspot targets in the world. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on here. You can join over 30,000 teams on DigitalOcean, such as TaskRabbit, Atlassian, Docker, and many more. HP. I mean, there's just to name a couple. There's a lot of great companies that use DigitalOcean, Teespring, Salesforce. So let's go ahead and now let's look at their products. So they have their compute products. Their main talking point is you can deploy a server in 55 seconds. You can select an image or app, one-click installation images. You can choose a size, you select a region, and then guess what? You create the server in 55 seconds, it's ready to go, and you can start using the server. They have a really easy to use API, as I mentioned earlier. And on the fly, you can go ahead and create clusters. You can resize your droplets. You can back up and create snapshots. You can transfer snapshots to other users or regions. You can monitor your droplets and get Slack notifications for when your memory is exceeding 80% or things such as that nature. You can have custom user data. When you go to create a droplet, everything's just created automatically for you. They use enterprise solid state drives. You have a 40 gigabyte connectivity network. You have an enterprise grade KVM hypervisors for improved network performance and security. And don't forget about their distros and apps. You can get Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, CoreOS, etc., etc., etc. The possibilities with DigitalOcean is pretty much endless. And again, you have the very straightforward pricing. Anything you can think of, they got it. All right, and then you also can get high memory droplet pricing. All I have to say is don't fire up one of these bad boys and forget about it's on your account unless you want to get a nice little surprise in your invoice. I'm kidding. But anyways, yeah, don't make sure you know what you're doing and do not exceed what you're trying to do. It's always best to start small and upgrade later. You can go ahead and actually basically deal with that. All right, so basically, I mean, DigitalOcean, it is what it is. It's a very great company, very straightforward pricing, straightforward service. You're the manager, and I mean, really, it's just fantastic. So let's go ahead and take a look at the control panel and what you can do to get signed up. So if you want to go ahead and sign up right now, you can go ahead and hit that sign up button in the top right. I'll go ahead and sign out. So you can want to just go ahead and sign up, and you want to sign in with your email address and your password. And then you'll sign up. It will probably ask you to verify your account and things such as that nature. And then once you verify your email address, if it does ask you that, it will then ask you to add a credit card or a $5 DigitalOcean or a PayPal credit to your account. Now, if you use the referral link in this video description, which will be at the bottom of the video, you will go ahead and get $10 towards their service. So you get $10 worth of credit. You still have to verify your account, maybe add $5 from PayPal, and then you have a total of $15 credit. And then that will be good for 3 months using their smaller plan. So you can go ahead and test the waters and follow along with these videos and learn how to somewhat keep up to date with DigitalOcean. Now, this channel is great for not just DigitalOcean, but it's also great for other companies such as Linode or there's a bunch of different companies right now, AWS, because we don't just focus on DigitalOcean's platform themselves. We also focus on basically the installation of new apps on cloud servers and things such as that nature. So yes, we are kind of aimed for the DigitalOcean community, but we can also fill the gaps with other communities as well. So we're going to go ahead and log in. I already have an account with DigitalOcean. I actually have a couple for businesses and personal use. And, well, if I can remember my password today, that would be fantastic. If I can remember my password today, that would be fantastic. Okay. Now, I happen to use two-factor authentication. You might decide you want to do this too. It's not a bad practice, that's for sure, because it's always great to have a second force of authentication to get into your account in case someone were to try to maybe, I don't know what they would exactly do. But anyways, they're there for you. So with DigitalOcean, they have this very nice, very sleek control panel. And at this control panel, you have almost everything you need. You can create your droplets. You can see your images. You can see networking. You can have floating IPs, which floating IPs with DigitalOcean is pretty neat. You can register new IP addresses and assign them to a server. So one server can basically have two IP addresses, one with its normal IP and one with a floating IP. And this is used a lot in like load balancing. So, or if one server fails and you have an API that's constantly checking it and it realizes that there's something wrong with that server and it's not responding to your requests, you have another server that's basically a whole mirror of that server. You go ahead with your API, you have this all set up in your program or whatever you have that's monitoring it to go ahead and switch the IP that your floating IP is forward to go to the other server address. And it works really nice. You can also have PTR records to use with a mail server. DigitalOcean has a great API, and they also have wonderful support. Support usually gets back to you within anywhere from, I've had 5 minutes to an hour, but very great support, and they do help you out if you ever need help. So let's go ahead and just walk you through creating a droplet, because maybe you're wanting to do that right now. So let's get started. So let's create a droplet, and I'm going to basically walk you through the creation process, and then that's it for this video, because that's really all DigitalOcean is. It's very, they really make making servers amazing. Like it's really all it is. So you can select from these distributions. You have Ubuntu, FreeBSD, or Fedora, Debian, CoreOS, and CentOS. Now, I'm going to select the latest Ubuntu just because why not? Because that's the latest and greatest. You can also use their one-click installation apps, and they have a lot now. I know when I first started out with DigitalOcean, this was not even a thing yet, or it was just a new thing, and they only had like 5 images. But it's come a long way, and they keep these pretty much up to date. But once you install these, you kind of have to go back and you have to do some configuration and keep them up to date, because if you don't keep it up to date, possibility that it could be like the security could be kind of like dug into, and basically stuff could happen to your server. So just make sure you're keeping your applications up to date, especially if it's a one-click install. So let's go ahead and continue here. We're going to go ahead and choose a size. Now, again, I suggest just use what you need for now. You can always upgrade down the road. So let's just start small and upgrade to a bigger server later on, which is easy to do. You just go ahead and create a snapshot of your droplet and destroy it if you want to use it in a new region, or you can just do the in-app upgrade, and I'll show you how to do that right after we're done creating the server. So I'm just going to keep it at the smallest plan. Now, you can add block storage too, like I was talking about, how you can have a lot more storage on your server. But for this, I'm going to leave this alone, because the next video I'm going to be releasing will cover everything about block storage. So we're going to leave it alone for now. Choose a data center region, wherever. I always say whatever is closer to your clientele. So if you're going to be deploying an app in Amsterdam, but you're in New York, or if you're in San Francisco, make sure it's in Amsterdam, because that's where your clientele is going to be. But if you're going to be all around the world, well, then it wouldn't hurt to have a version of your site all around the world. And with load balancing, you could go ahead and get your user to the site that's closest to them. But that's beyond this. That is possible, but that's beyond what we're going to be doing today. And then last but not least, you need to select additional options. You can select private networking, backups, IPv6, and also user data. Now, this is all what you want to do. Private networking is probably a good idea, and IPv6 is good as well. Backups are great, but you have to pay $20 or 20% more a month, 20% of the cost of the droplet, to have backups. It does like it's like once a week backups, so they retain for 4 weeks, as it says there. You also can do user data, but we're not going to cover that today. And finally, if you want to add SSH keys to your account, you can go ahead and create a new SSH key using your terminal, and then you can paste it in here and give it a name, and everything's wonderful. And if you create an SSH key, you can go ahead and actually SSH right into it. You don't have to enter a password or anything, so that's nice as well, and it's also much more secure. And again, finally, we can go ahead and create our droplet. How many droplets do you want? Well, we're only going to go about 1 for now. And we can go ahead and give it a host name. So we'll just name it my new droplet. And we can go ahead and create this droplet. So this server is actually creating, and it will take about 55 seconds or shorter, or just maybe a smidge longer. And I did not say that, but it can take a varying amount of time, for 30 seconds to a minute and 30 seconds, depending on their load, depending on their network. So we're just going to go ahead and let this spin up, and it will just be a couple minutes, or a couple seconds, I should say. Oh wow, I actually think that was less than 55 seconds, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and copy this IP, or actually we don't need to copy this, but that's fine. Because we're not going to actually, there's nothing on it, like no web page. So I can't really show you that it's working. But what we're going to go ahead and do is I'll show you how to resize the droplet. So say if you just spun up your droplet and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't use enough RAM or disk space. Well, that's okay. We can go ahead and do that right now. So we can go ahead and do a CPU and RAM only upgrade. And this will only upgrade the CPU or RAM. Or we can do a disk, CPU, and RAM upgrade. And this is permanent and you cannot go back. But if you do CPU and RAM, you can upgrade and then go back. But if you do disk, CPU, and RAM, you have, once you go to $10, or once you go up to the 1 GB RAM, you have, or most likely a disk space. If you go up to 30 gigabyte of disk space, you can't go back to 20 afterwards because it's their file system and it just doesn't work. So we're going to go ahead and just do CPU and RAM only, just because why not, okay? And you must actually power off your droplets too. So we can go ahead and do that right now. So turn off. And this droplet's powering down right now. And in a minute, we'll see that it's off. And then once it's off, we can go ahead and can proceed with an actual upgrade. And I'll go ahead and do disk, CPU, and RAM upgrade, just because. So upgraded the 1 gigabyte of RAM. We'll do that right now. Resize. All right, so while that's resizing, let's go ahead and look at some other stuff. Now with DigitalOcean, you got some really nice graphs. You have CPU, disk, network, and also private network too. They're not showing right now, probably because there's no data yet. You can have console access and root password access and reset that as well. You can power your droplet on. You can add volumes, which is going to be coming up in the following video after this. You can resize your droplet as well, like we're doing right now. You can see a whole bunch of good network information too. IPv6, IPv6 address, all this good stuff, private IP, everything you ever need. Backups, snapshots. You can change your kernel. You can see the history of everything that's happened to your server. You can destroy your server, dun 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 dun. And you can also add tags to your server. And this is something great to group your servers together. All right, so let's go back now, and our server should be back up after that reboot and after the upgrade. So we actually have to turn it on now because I didn't turn on for some reason, but that's okay. We'll turn that on because I'm pretty sure the upgrade was done. Yeah, it's done. It's just powering up. So our server is back up and running. So that's great. So I hope you guys learned quite a bit from this tutorial, this intro video. We've learned what DigitalOcean is. We've learned about all their changes since I've last created videos. And we also highlighted their UI. We've created a server. We talked through everything. And I kind of showed you a couple interesting points of their platform. So I hope this has helped everybody. I apologize for the dryness in videos lately. I mean, it's been extremely busy, but we'll go ahead and upgrade more videos on a somewhat regular basis. I'm hoping for one a week or one every 2 weeks, but no promises. But I'm going to try to hold to one every 1 to 2 weeks, and that will make sure new content is coming into our channel to keep everything up to date. On top of that, I'm creating another channel, which is more like a website, and that will be for more like coding and also server management too, but more advanced topics. And that there will be a site where there will be some kind of a charge. So it's probably going to be like a base rate of maybe $5 a month or 12 months for $50. And it'll be like a recurring payment thing, whatever. And that there will have a lot more videos. So I'm planning on, because we'll have another video that kind of like talks to everything, but that's the plan for coming up. So they'll still be busy here. I'll still be active here, but I need to have something more going on as well. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If this video has helped you, please go ahead and press that like button. And if you didn't like this video, well, you know what to do too. Hit that dislike button, but that makes me sad. And you can go ahead and comment on this video too if you think DigitalOcean is great, or if you have anything that you think other people should know about DigitalOcean, or your personal use case experience with DigitalOcean as well. Now, please don't dislike this video because you don't like DigitalOcean. Please like this video if you like the content that we're producing. Not so much about DigitalOcean. I mean, they're great people and everything, but don't let them hinder your actual thoughts of this video. So I hope everybody has had a great time. I know I have, and I'm looking forward to making videos again. So everybody have a great time.